It's tough to answer what is design. If you think of back to your English high school days when they ask you to answer with the 5 W's of who, what, where, when, and why, I think what is design actually is the least relevant, because if you think about it, at least in my point of view, design is about the who's the audience, the where and the when that indicate the context and the environment you're designing for, and most importantly, the why and the how. Why you're doing something the way you're doing it, and how are you going to get there. So in a nutshell, it's not the what that is design, but rather it's the process that is design. It's how you get to that end result is when you're designing. So one of the people that stood out to me was Giulio Ceppi from Total Tool, and it was his theory and approach to design or interaction design is what stuck with me, because the work he's doing with Total Tool, he's producing everything from a poster to a massive truck rest stop on a highway to a small piece of a product. And what all of those things have in common is how he approaches the design process. And his thinking or his approach was more of an upper level thinking and a theory base, which is what we're learning quite well in SIAD, I feel like, instead of just hands-on making things. So when he was speaking about your users being the center of your design process, that totally rang a bell of, yes, that's how things should be, instead of just focusing on the end product. Or when he's speaking about design is you constantly changing and improving and asking yourself, what is design? And moving forward and being conscious of what is your surrounding. That also makes sense, because if you're stuck in one genre, then that's all you will be. You will never move on and never move forward, and you get banal. So certain things that he was saying definitely stood out. Italy in particular, I think one of the things I learned quite well, and it comes from speaking to Giovanna Castiglione, speak about her father, Achille Castiglione, is to be curious. And once again, it sounds cliche, but one of the things I notice is once you're in a new environment, you turn to a 2-year-old. You become a sponge. You notice every little noise, sound, voice, everything is new, and you're absorbing it and you're learning from it. Well, if that's the most productive space for me, I can't afford to move every 6 months. So what I could do is make a conscious effort to put on the 2-year-old glasses every now and again and try to observe better and explore and take it upon myself to learn and research and be the curious 2-year-old version of me when necessary. And that really taught me to listen well, because it's easy to hear what your client or user or frankly your friend is saying, but it's something totally different to read between the lines and understand what their need is before they can even vocalize it or they know it. So that's been one of the most useful skills I've gained throughout the whole couple of years of doing field schools, and especially interviews with individuals, is reading cues and reading between what is there and what is being said versus what is truly the definition and the meaning of what they're asking for. Another person that I quite closely related to was William Sawaya. One thing that caught my attention about him is that he's originally from Beirut, so he has the background of being a Middle Eastern, and I closely can affiliate with that as being an immigrant from the Middle East. And so it was very nice to ask him on a personal level about his journey as somebody who's familiar with East and West, and how he can combine those two values and take advantage of having had those backgrounds. But aside from that, as a designer and architect, I think one of the best things that I learned from him was don't ever let anything but the idea lead your design process. Idea always comes first. You can make as many pretty things as you want, but if there is no meat to it, it will just be one of many, and it will soon be forgotten. It will not have a sustainability of the lifespan that it should have. So that was one of the best things I got from William Sawaya's interview. One of the most inspiring people that we interviewed was Carlotta de Villacqua from Danese. And not only as a woman was she a extremely good role model to look up to, but her vision was something that the minute she started speaking about it, you're like, wow, like I understand what it means to think of the future. And that was one thing that I think every designer should do, and I hope that I do in the future, is to have a vision and think of what you want out of your future and what you want the future to look like and work towards that instead of seeing what's present now and readjusting it. So Carlotta, that was one of the points that for me meant a lot from what she said. So the Italians actually, whenever we asked them what is design, most of them were like progetto. So that's the word they have for it. And progetto literally translates to project. And that means far more than just the steps to an assignment or an end goal, but rather it also means to project, to throw forward, to think ahead. And that is something that if you don't do, then you're just in the now and you're creating something for today. And frankly, tomorrow, it's useless. So design to me is the process you take in order to enhance what already is happening today for the future, for the next generation, be it long-term or short-term. And the end goal of it, ideally, should be to enhance something, whether it be it graphically or physically or the audio of something, whatever experience. Overall, it should bring joy and enhancement and a ease and comfort to the end user. And if you go through the how and the why and the where and the when and do those right, you end up with the what at the end of the day, hopefully in a good design. Otherwise, you're just making things, which I don't think is necessarily good design. So to me, that the process is what design is.